My name is Charlie Cole. I'm a 37-year resident of an inn holding in Yellowwood State Forest, and I'm here not because I have a differing foresting philosophy than the DNR. I am here because it's now a matter of truth and fairness and transparency toward the public, and we are not going to quit until our forest is safe. Thank you.
The Division of Forestry's continuous forest inventory finds that less than 9% of our state forests are 120 years old or older. Less than 2% are 140 years old or older, and 1/3% are 160 years and older. They are public forests that we all own. They should be used for public purposes. And we will not rest until the state sets an appreciable amount of these forests, our forests, to return to the old growth conditions to remain forever wild for the use and enjoyment of everyone.
Yeah, I feel like that the timber industry should be buying from private people, not from the state, because this forest belongs to us. It doesn't belong to the timber company. So one person gets to benefit off of this rather than all of the citizens of the state of Indiana. That's not right.
I'm Dave Seastrom, longtime Brown County guy. Lived here on Possum Trot Road going on 30 years. I've seen a lot of logging in those time, and honestly, the way they were logging from the first timber sales in the early 60s up until about 12 years ago, I had very little or no complaint. The way they did it in those days, guys would show up in a pickup trucks and they'd go out and they'd single cut trees and skid them along the hiking trails, respecting the forest floor. And now the way they're doing it is so highly mechanized, and the rate of increase, I mean, there is so much more logging. It's increased 400%. And not only are they increasing the rate of logging, but the way they're doing it with these feller bunchers and bulldozing the forest floor and building these 30-foot wide gravel roads, they're absolutely changing the character and the nature of the forest to where, in my opinion, they're turning it into an industrial tree farm. And the DNR is charged to protect the forest in a way, to manage the forest in a way that allows for multi-use. And that would include recreation. And I would say, from what I am seeing, they're eliminating the recreation part of their mandate to manage. And this is extremely upsetting, and I believe that's why you're seeing a groundswell of all these people getting involved. You know, the numbers are increasing all of the time. We're putting tremendous pressure on the governor, our representatives, the local DNR people, and frankly, they're being very unresponsive. In fact, the DNR in their own literature claims that they own the state forest. Now, this is morally and legally not true. We the people of Indiana, Hoosiers, own these forests. And it is my opinion, and the opinion of many people who are involved in this movement, that we should also have a say in how these forests are managed.
Here's the problem that we see with these timber sales is these logs are getting put onto containers and shipped to China and Japan. They're not providing jobs for people that are in timber processing in Indiana. And this is statewide, this is private forestry sale as well. You know, we're one of the few countries in the world that allows timber to leave our borders without it being turned into a final good. And so we're not providing employment. In fact, you know, it's the bidding process has gotten so competitive on the trees that there's like an employee-owned mill in Mockford, Indiana right now where the sawmill is not running because they can't get logs. So there's a real problem with the entire process.
Absolutely.
And the management of our timber and our timber stands. So
I've read different places that trees resonate at the same vibrational frequency as the human body. So we need that time in the forest to rejuvenate, recharge, reground. We just need that time back in the forest to reconnect with our soul, our spirit, and our natural, healthy human body. And the other thing I've noticed about Brown County, when you look at like the weather reports on the news, there's always this green square. And it's Brown County, it's the trees. I mean, it's just the very heart and soul of Indiana. So we really need to protect this. It's absolutely outrageous that they want to go in and cut these old growth trees. And a 20, 30-year-old tree is a juvenile, you know. So we have, as the people who own this forest, we have a right to a closed canopy old growth forest and to enjoy it, appreciate it for its own value. It has an intrinsic value that you don't get from dollars and cents and business and economy and all that. And of course, what will it do to the economy of the region to be cutting the forest and closing trails and devastating the scenic landscape? I mean, it's just outrageous. I'm Charlene Marsh. I'm an artist out here in Brown County. I've been out here for 30 years. I'm a plein air painter, which is a French term, means out in the open air. I actually paint the forest, and there's a lot more to the forest than, you know, the monetary value or the market value or whatever they keep trying to justify cutting it. There's a spiritual value to the forest. You know, it's like the heart and soul of the people. And people need that time in the forest to, you know, regenerate, rejuvenate, reinvigorate the spirit and reconnect with our soul, with God. And I believe my paintings capture that energy of the forest, bring it into our living spaces. I can't even imagine if they cut the forest.
Sure. My name's Andy Norman. I live here in Brown County. My partner and I moved here about a year ago. You know, we moved here. We're both Indiana natives, and we moved to Brown County to make a life in the country. We lived in Indianapolis, and I lived in Chicago before that. And you know, this is these forests are special to us. And this is why we've decided to stay in Indiana, because of these hills and these forests.
My name's Keenan Rainwater. I was born and raised in Brown County. I live 4 miles east of Bean Blossom. I found out about the timber sale and the deforestation, or whatever you want to call this, that the DNR is doing in the Department of Forestry with Yellowwood and Morgan Monroe State Forest, all of our state forests. I found out about this situation through Dave Seastrom and his posts on Facebook. He very eloquently describes the problem and the situation, and has helped raise awareness about what we're about to lose here. And so this morning we went and witnessed the timber sale, where, you know, good men came together and bought trees that they're going to turn into lumber. Previously those trees weren't for sale, and now apparently they are for sale because our agencies of the state have decided that it's a good idea to log out our forests and seemingly turn them into tree farms. And so my daughter Eleanor and I came out to witness these events, and then we've come out to the actual site where the logging is going to take place so that we can observe it and walk through it one last time before it's cut and see what it's like, because people won't know after a few weeks from now, when they actually cut the trees, that mature forest won't be a mature forest anymore.
My name's Dan Mattingly, and I'm from Westfield, Indiana. And I just really felt like this is an excellent cause to come down here and try and defeat these folks that are trying to take these old trees. I was telling someone just recently that I've planted 120 trees myself in a soybean field, what used to be a soybean field where I live, and the trees are 30 years old now. But they're nothing compared to what we're standing in and what they're trying to take. So I have grandkids now, and I want them to hug some old trees. And it doesn't happen overnight, but it's really easy to take them away overnight.
Okay, my name is Rock Emmert. I'm from the Ferdinand State Forest area, where there's a lot of cutting going on as well. and I've been a member of Heartwood and been supporting the Indiana Forest Alliance for a few years. So I'm just grateful for all the advocacy work that they're doing, the sacrifices they're making to help with this cause. Well, we got there about, I guess, 6:30, and it was a cold and dark and frosty morning, but just a great energy, great vibe, and then more and more people started to pour in from the region, and it was gratifying to see that many people, professors and scientists and moms and children, dads, and just a variety of our communities. And I think that gathering represents the people back in Ferdinand. You have a lot of people that are really devastated by the increase of cutting in our public forests. And so it's good to see people peacefully gathering to share that heartache, basically, that we're losing some of our most pristine hiking trails, and the recreational component of our state forest is not being recognized significantly at all in recent years.
I'm Audrey Smith, and I grew up in Lafayette, Indiana, and then I came to Bloomington for college, and I just recently graduated from IU. And while I was in Bloomington, I had a lot of opportunities to go hike in some of the surrounding areas and some of the really beautiful forests out here. And I just recently learned about this logging proposal, I think sometime last week, but I had a chance to look at it online, and one of the things that really struck me about it was the list of trees that they think are marketable. On that list there are 2 elm trees. Now, I haven't really even tried to find those elm trees in this forest, but the fact that they're here is pretty amazing because of the Dutch elm disease, and the fact that pretty much all of them were wiped out. And I'm into identifying trees, and I've never seen an elm tree. So it's really sad to me that those are going to be logged before I have a chance to see any of them. And those trees are especially special because they were able to survive that disease. So it's a shame that they're considering logging them now after they've survived so much.
And the way I feel is that the forest is supposed to, like Dad said, mature and become beautiful, because it's this thing that it's supposed to be here for people to enjoy and to walk through and to live and to breathe in. But if they keep cutting it down, it's not going to be here, and years later there's not going to be any mature forests, and nobody can witness the beauty of these trees because they'll keep cutting them down. And once they cut them, they're gone, then they're not coming back. I mean, you can plant more, but you really have to let them mature, which can take up lots of time, and you can't buy time. But if you could, I'm sure you would. I mean, during fall, you've got the yellow leaves, the orange leaves, the green leaves, the red leaves. It's the beauty of it. There's not going to be any leaf piles, nothing. It's going to be terrible.
Well, this is an exciting day for forest preservation. It's a great opportunity for the people of Indiana to voice their opinions and to share how they feel about our state forest and how important they are to preserve it. This is only the beginning. This is only the beginning.